white guy said something to me cleaning the break room. I can talk to your managers that you prefer communication in a specific way, which is face-to-face, not through doors, and that if you need a response from you, it needs to be a one-on-one, face-to-face like this. But I'm going to tell you that this is probably why people are not wanting to engage with you, is that you're not engaging back and people feel it's rude. But this I can address, and we'll consider that one addressed.
Misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding?
I just told you why I don't like to interact with people a lot.
So I hear you, and what I'm saying is that I can address it with your managers and say, hey, I'm advocating for Kevin. He prefers to communicate in a specific way, and he prefers not to respond in a specific way.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's not being rude to you, he is simply engaging in communication that's most comfortable for him. Is that fair?
When it comes to that, yes.
When it comes to this, great, perfect. The black girl that was pricing walked into the bathroom while I was waiting to clean it while the other one was clean and empty. What about this is unfair or racially charged or unethical?
Because I was trying to tell her, but I couldn't get it out fast enough.
Okay. What would need to be done to be fixed?
It has something to do with the impatience that folks have.
People are impatient. Is there anything that you could do to handle the situation differently?
I speak how I speak. I don't speak like this my whole life. I got it from my dad. He has a speech impediment, but and I think his parents have speech impediment, and for me, not everybody handles it the same. And for me, the experience that I had, you talking about that you've been spat on. I've been spat on. I've been like, when folks see where I talk for the first time, I remember somebody like kicked me back or something like that, and just it comes to a point where you have to say something, and you get mad, but I'm telling the truth. That's how the world is.
So Kevin, I'm not mad, and I really would like you to stop, genuinely and truly. I would like you to stop putting emotions to what I feel.
I'm not.
You just said I'm mad. I don't feel mad.
No, did I say you? Did I say you?
You are mad. You just said.
No, I said folks can get mad.
I did not mishear.
I said folks get mad if they want to, but I'm standing for myself at start because
So, Kevin, I think maybe
and
I'd like to tell you a little bit of my story, just so you understand that I do get where you're coming from. I don't have a speech impediment. I don't have a disability, but I grew up overseas. I grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in a very religiously conservative household in a really religiously conservative country. Lived in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is Islamic, Muslim. Women can't drive. Women have no rights. Women are less than what black people are in America, if that makes sense. Like, you have the right to work, the right to drive a vehicle, the right to have an ID, the right to get married, you have a lot of rights.
And folks have fought and died for those rights, and I appreciate those rights.
Absolutely.
And don't act like, that's today, but folks are being killed today.
Absolutely.
Folks are being hung today.
Absolutely. So, but what I'm telling you is that I get it. I've lived in a place, in a society that treated me less than my value. And as a black man, as a human that exists in this space that we call planet Earth, you have value. It is intrinsic who you are. It doesn't have anything to do with your blackness. It doesn't have anything to do with your gender. It doesn't have anything to do with anything other than you exist as a human, and you have value.
That's what I'm saying, human being.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing.
So I agree with you to a point, but what I am telling you is that I think you get to a place, or what I'm perceiving, this is what I make, the story that I make from this conversation, that no one's going to understand you, no one's going to treat you right, no one is going to do these things, but I think you put yourself there in your limiting beliefs in your mind, and then everything that someone else does is offense. It shouldn't be offensive that someone had to pee and they walked into the bathroom. It shouldn't be offensive that someone asked you the price of a book. It shouldn't be offensive that Miguel came up behind you and asked you what you were going to do. So some of these are confusing to me simply because they're not racially charged. They don't have anything to do with your speech impediment. They have everything to do with the perception that you are receiving. It's the perception of you are making up a story for other people. And that's you have to handle that on the inside. Like, I can't help with that. I can only help when there is treatment in the workplace that can be addressed. So talking to people about the interrupting, no problem, I got that. Talking to people about how you like to be communicated with, no problem, I got that. Talking to people about if you are getting ready to clean a bathroom, to not walk into it, to go use one that's already clean, I can do that. But I can't do anything about people coming up to you and talking to you. That's how we communicate as humans. I can't do anything if a customer asks you the price of a book and then you say he looked at me rudely. I can't control any of that. You can. You control how you react to it and how you engage with it and how you choose to believe that behavior is. Because already in this conversation, you've made judgment calls about me, so I anticipate you're probably making judgment calls about a lot of people in here. So my encouragement for you is that I'm going to work on the things that I can work on, but you have to work on the things that you can work on. And only you can change how you perceive the world around you. I can't fix that. And to be honest, if a lot of this behavior continues where you're just upset because someone asked you a question or talked to you or asked you what you were doing, or you asked for paper towels and you felt like someone was rude, is this place for you? Is working here for you? Yes, it's here.
I'm going to stay here and I'm going to continue to stand up for myself. Like, if you have a problem with you not standing up for yourself, if he called you something or did something to you that offended you, well, do you not have the right to say something?
You do, and that's why we're here.
I have a right.
Of course you do, but most of these things are not people calling you names or people commenting about your color. It's, I felt like they were rude. I feel a certain way about it. That's not going to change here. How you feel about the situation can only be changed by you. And if you're not careful, what you're going to do is everyone else is going to be like, oh my gosh, we can't talk to Kevin. Oh my gosh, we can't do this. Oh my gosh, Kevin is over here and he doesn't like us and all of this. And you're going to create a hostile work environment for the rest of the people here.
No, I'm not. And you said he talking about the human family and human rights and things like that. That is our human rights. You're taking away, like you program the people that you're doing wrong to not want to stand up for themselves, saying that maybe this is just in your head. Somebody told me that when I interviewed for the job, and I told them my experience as a stutterer, and she said maybe this is in your head. No, it's not in my head. These things are actually happening, and what you're doing right now is telling me to be content with how I'm being treated, and I won't ever be. And you said that you grew up overseas. I've been living here all my life. My parents living here all my life, and great, going all the way back. And the place that we contribute to, work, all our lives. The place that I live at, the place that I work at. Just look what type of things happen to people who look like me. Folks are being on right now, and how can you not address that? Like, and you talking about, we're not gonna talk about race, and the training things that they talk about this. No, they act like that was like that was talking about equality or something like that, and but here I'm not getting that sense from this company, from you that represents this company.
So again, that's your perception. And what you feel may not always be true. I can't change or address your perceptions. I can only address behaviors. So this is almost a stalemate. I value your input. I believe in people advocating for themselves. This is why I'm in the job that I am. I like solving problems. I like engaging with people. But at the end of the day, a lot of these things from I'm reading, like this person, this one I can't address that one. But after I walked back in, someone yelled my name. They said Kevin. and then I walked back to the supply cabinet. He met me there to ask me if I knew anything about Blu-rays. I don't understand how that is offensive or unethical or unfair.
When somebody comes to me and says something very easily, like I said, I've never started a conversation before. I hardly start a conversation with somebody I know that won't, that I know, but when folks do it to me, who I don't know, it kind of affects me. Like, and I think I told her about this. Like it's just like, because if it was me, it would be a bad reaction. I already know. Because
So Kevin, what I make of that is that everyone else in this store needs to modify their behaviors to fit your preferences.
To respect human, if a person has a problem or has something, then that should be respectful. If somebody is disabled in any kind of way or have anything that's going on, I think folks should be understanding toward it, and like that's where I'm coming from, folks.
But you're not in some of these things.
But folks say that I'm quiet, and folks always say that I just stick to myself. I just do it. I'm just concentrating myself. Really, like my quietness is just a part of me. I never thought about it.
So you just want everyone to leave you alone?
If I have something to say, I'm gonna say it. But in return, can you just have respect? And that's why I hardly don't interact with coworkers. I like if it's the manager or something like that. I understand it, but with like the experience I had with coworkers,
So you would prefer everyone to just leave you alone?
Yeah, tell you the truth. I mean, just
I don't know if I can guarantee that. And here is why.
If it was me,
one of our values here at Goodwill is about collaboration and teamwork and working together. And for me to come at everyone and say, Kevin needs to be left alone, don't talk to him, don't engage with him, that violates a value of ours, which is service and teamwork. So I can't ask people to violate Goodwill's values and policies in order to meet all your preferences. So I'm just going to be honest that I don't know if I can provide that.
The things that people feel entitled to do and say to other people, but can't take nothing in return. I just, like I said, I hardly never started a conversation before because of reactions. And they affect me. I'm a person, of course, I have emotions, and I'm going to feel a certain way. Once you get into a certain point in life, you experience so much, you have a right to feel whatever kind of emotion, that comes with being a human being, Don't act like you ain't never feel no emotion before in your life, or...
Kevin, you keep talking and things are going in circles.
Mm-hmm.
I hear what you're saying. I feel like you've made your point. But I'm not here just to talk about how people feel. I'm here to talk about solutions. What's going to make you happy?
You're dealing with human beings.
Okay, yes, but here's the thing, Kevin, is your expectation of the way you're to be treated is different than what Chris's expectation would be or mine would be. So what you're asking is for everyone to meet an expectation that doesn't fit for them. I don't expect to be treated the same way you are treated. You expect people to leave you alone and not talk to you. I would be offended if everyone left me alone and didn't talk to me. So...
Well, that's how I have to learn how to live, That's how I learn to survive,
Okay,
Other folks gotta do certain things.
But you're missing my point. My point is that you're expecting everyone here to modify behavior for you, but you are unwilling to modify behavior for them. And so... Talk about double standard.
How much modification do you want me to do?
How much what?
How much modification do you want me to do?
Well, I'm not...
I'll do my job. And that's my whole point, right?
Who has complained about your job?
I don't know. Somebody complained about my job. I do my job, and that's the most important thing. Is there a problem there?
No, absolutely not.
So I'm just saying,
But we're here because you're making complaints about the workplace.
I have a right to do.
Again.
Freedom of speech.
Who has said you haven't? Who has said you didn't? Literally, I've said that 3 or 4 times this conversation. Yes, I believe you should advocate for yourself. Yes, I believe you should speak up. But I keep asking you questions for specific things, and you keep talking circles about the way society treats you. I'm not interested in that.
Well, it's a part of our everyday lives.
I get it,
Even at this job, it's a part of our everyday lives. And how you gonna act like how you gonna be a grown person, and not act like you affected.
So here's the thing: is that's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is to address your concerns and fix the problem. What can I do to address the concerns and fix the problem? That makes sense and isn't just about what Kevin needs, but is about what the group needs.
If y'all have the power that I say I do, then make people hold themselves accountable.
I don't know what that means.
Accountability.
Saying,
Accountability. That's the most important thing a person should learn.
Give me an example of what it would mean to hold someone accountable for asking or going into the bathroom when you are about to clean it. What accountability would need to
Understand
be there?
that you're dealing with a person with a speech impairment. That may take a little bit. Like, speaking don't come as easy for you as it do for me.
But what does that have to do about someone who really has to pee and walks into the bathroom?
The door, one right behind me was clean already, and I tried to tell her, but I couldn't get to that fast enough.
Okay, but can you have some compassion potentially for her? Some grace for her that maybe she really had to pee, or maybe she was on her period and she just felt herself bleed through. You don't know everyone's story either. So you're making judgment calls that she intentionally offended you, intentionally used that bathroom just to offend Kevin, when really she could have been having a medical issue, or really just had to pee, or was on her period. So you're making judgment calls and making up a story without knowing the full story.
I do have a right, because if it's gonna continue, and if I don't say nothing, then I'm gonna be being disrespectful like that all the time. And I've experienced that. I'm coming from a place that my experiences.
I hear you.
And don't tell me it's a coincidence or anything like that, because there ain't no coincidence.
I never said that word.
That's my experience. There's no such thing as those. And I'm just letting people know.
Okay. So what I feel like is we're at a stalemate. I feel like no matter what I do, and I will do what I said I would, which is talk to people again about not interrupting you, not finishing words for you, asking if you're currently cleaning something to wait. I will talk to them about how you prefer to be communicated with, but I cannot fix or change how you perceive the world or how you're perceiving these people. And to be honest, I think your perceptions of them are unfair.
Really? Talk to a black male, somebody who gets racially profiled every day, and have to live a certain life just to make people feel happy. Even though people just have nothing but hate, you have to be understanding. And if you get mad or speak out, then are you a bad person?
So listen, again, you're making judgment calls. I never called you a bad person.
Whether unconsciously or consciously, it still affects people. And I'm just making you aware of that, maybe there's a certain racial aspect into folks' treatment or decision making towards other people. And I'm just making aware of that. And if you don't want to look at it, okay. But I have to deal with it my whole life. And I'm a bad person.
Kevin, is genuinely until you made comments about being black, I didn't even know you were black. I'd been conversing with you exclusively on email. No one had told me, hey, the black kid over here is doing this, or the black guy over here. You're the one making it about race. I literally had no idea what your race was until you mentioned it. And every time I'm talking, give me a specific example, you go back to, well, society treats black men poorly. Okay. But that is the way you are perceiving the world. It's not an unfair perception. It is your perception.
It's a real perception, because that's the life I have to live.
I literally just said it wasn't unfair. I literally just said that.
How I try to connect it with you is like, aren't you a person? Aren't you a human being? Aren't you a flesh or blood human being who just want to be treated fairly? And that's how I found some connection. I mean, is that wrong?
So, and here's the thing, Kevin, is you say that you're trying to connect with me as a human to be treating me fairly, but...
Treat me fairly.
Okay. And here's the thing is, when you made that comment, it was about you violating policy. and I did treat you fairly. I treated you just like everybody else, no matter their race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. The policy that you got written up for, 3-4 people that week, got written up for the exact same thing. I couldn't tell you their race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or anything because it doesn't matter. You broke the rules.
And I have a question how to fill out my race, and then you just acting like it's not like a determination factor of any kind. But when I fill out my application, I know I fill out my race.
Okay, and that's great, but I don't go looking at that when I engage with employees. So do I have the access to your file that I could look and see that you said you were black? For sure, I could access that. But when I'm emailing with you or anyone, I'm not going, am I talking to a black person? Am I talking to a white person? Am I talking to someone who is transgender? Am I talking to, I don't do that. I'm talking to a person. And
that's important to look at. I mean, you don't have to, you don't have to look at it. It's not bad to look at it.
I don't think it's bad.
What a person is, like to be colorblind, like folks say colorblind, I think that's very, just ignorant. And but to look at a person and say what a person is, you can tell what a person goes through, or if a person have anything going on with them, you need to look at those things when you're dealing with a person. And if you care like you say you do, then take those things into account of a situation. Don't just say, oh, this is a person, because that's how things happen. Like, because you don't have to be a racist to use the N-word, something like that. I've been, you can call somebody like I've been called like a thug or something like that, or just like that. It's not just about the N-word or just killing black people anymore. It's just like it's a certain type of profiling, certain code words or certain code things that people do around certain people. Cause the other day, like somebody, like there was a person here, and she asked me for a scraper, and then she said, hand it to them, and then not hand it to me. That's something that happens to me in store all the time, and that's something that's the actual racist thing that people do, where somebody don't want to touch a black person's hand because like they think that black people are like animals, something like that, and that is true. That is literally true.
But is it true for that person?
It might be, because like I said, there's no coincidences. And for black people, we gotta assume the worst, because like
that's sad.
We have to.
So,
be looked in the stores all the time and be treated. And
listen, I'm not going to speak to your experience as a black man. I'm not a black man.
Those are true.
I'm not.
If you don't want to look at that,
I didn't say they were false. So I really wish you would stop doing that, where you are saying something as if I made a claim.
Freedom of speech, right? So what's wrong with me saying? It's disrespectful. How are you disrespectful? I'm just making you aware that these things do happen to people, and they affect people, because people, once again, how I'm trying to connect this, human beings.
So my email that
nobody's perfect. Are you
So
perfect?
my email that offended you, and you called me out and this and that and all of this, that was respectful?
I'm making.
I'm allowed.
Your judgment, your bias, that bias judgment. I'm making sure that you hold yourself accountable. I'm not.
Well, I'm notifying you on how I choose to be treated, but you're ignoring that. So what I'm saying is, don't have a double standard. You expect to be treated differently than you are willing to treat others. And I can't fix that. That's not my job. You can choose to go to therapy, or you can choose in your own life to internalize and work on your own shadows.
And be content with my own enslavement.
Because I didn't say that.
Just be content with it and not just say anything about it at all. Not complain at all.
I didn't say that.
Because how it is, in this country, folks are still literally being enslaved. That's really going on, and that affects me. I'm not gonna lie, but I will try not to. But I keep in mind that there are people with those kind of intentions for me, bad intentions. Because I've been profiled before. I've been harassed by police before. I have guns drawn on me by police before, and you have to be aware of the world like that. I remember I was interacting with a little kid one time. He said he's scared of police. A child that small said that, and it affects me how I gotta be aware all the time of people